morning. How are you?
Did better.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
I'm Tanner's mother. I'm the defendant's mother.
And I'm going to ask you again, how are you doing?
I'm in pain, but I'm working through it.
What kind of pain are you having today?
I've had 2 neck surgeries in last year, and the screws have fallen out, and they're working their way down my back as we speak.
Miss Horner, where were you born?
May 3rd, 1971.
Oh, is it where were you born?
Oh, Fort Worth.
And where were you raised?
Fort Worth.
Did you move around a lot while you were in Fort Worth when you were a child?
Yeah.
How far did you go in school?
No. Not far at all. That's, I think, 9th grade.
Did you like school?
No.
Why didn't you like it?
I had a lot of issues in school and home.
When you were in school, what kind of grades were you making?
I don't remember that, Susan. I don't.
Okay. Did you ever want to go to college?
You need to speak out.
Oh, you sure? Yes, I did.
And Ms. Horner, you're also very soft-spoken, so if you can try to, and I know you're in some pain, but if you can keep your voice up for us and use the microphone as much as possible, that'll make it easier for the jury to hear what you have to say.
Is that better?
Much.
Okay.
We were talking about you wanting to go to college. Did you ever make it to college?
I did when I got sober in 2014. I did.
And how was that for you?
I did good. I had an essay published in Blueprints.
You had an essay published?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what kind of essay?
It was a simile metaphor, simile and metaphor essay.
And what was it about?
The oppression of Muslim women.
So, where was this essay published?
Oh, in TCC, or it was TCJC at the time.
Is that Tarrant County Community College?
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, when you were a young girl, what did you want to do with your life?
I don't remember having dreams. I didn't have a good childhood.
Your Honor, I'm going to... May I approach the witness?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Actually, Ms. Horner, I'm going to hand you what has already been admitted into evidence as defense exhibits 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, and 62. And we're going to be using these throughout your testimony, okay?
Okay. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, publish, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that in states number 55, or defense exhibit number 55?
That would be me.
And how old were you there?
Maybe 8, 9.
Well, Ms. Horner, I want to talk to you a little bit about your upbringing, okay? Who is your mother?
Jackie Harbison.
What kind of mother was Jackie?
Excuse me?
What kind of mother was Jackie?
A very nurturing mother. Not very protective, but nurturing.
Did she ever leave you alone as a child?
Yeah.
How old were you when she would leave you alone?
Not. I mean, what do you mean alone?
Well, if she left you at home by yourself, how did she often leave you at home by yourself?
When she was working, yeah.
And how old were you?
About 6.
About 6?
Mm-hmm.
So at the age of 6, she would leave you at home alone?
Yeah.
Did you have any brothers or sisters there with you?
No, not at the time.
Did you have a stepfather or any cousins or relatives to stay with you?
I'm not sure about the age, but like, until my mom got married, I was alone, and then I had 2 step brothers and sisters.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're back online now. Sorry. Okay, so Ms. Warner, we were talking about your mother. You had said that she was nurturing, but not always. Do you feel that your mother met all of your emotional needs as a child?
Just in the meetings. I'll let her read. Go ahead.
And I'll repeat the question. Do you feel that your mother Jackie met all of your emotional needs?
She tried. She's very young. She tried. I don't think I did, no. I don't think they were. She turned 16 the day after she had me, so, yeah.
For the child having a child?
Right.
And Ms. Horner, I want to talk to you a little bit about your father. Did your mother and father remain married after having you?
No, ma'am, they didn't.
And how old were you when they divorced?
1 year old.
At some point, did your mother remarry?
Yes.
And how old were you when they remarried?
5 or 6.
Did you like your new stepfather?
No.
Why not? Okay, Ms. Horner. Did your stepfather abuse you?
Yes.
How did he abuse you?
First time he abused me, they weren't even married. I was 4 when he tried to have sex with me.
And this was before they even got married?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell anyone?
Yes, I did.
Who did you tell?
My mother.
Even though you had told your mother that the man she was with at the time had abused you, did she break up with him?
No, she didn't believe me.
She didn't believe you?
I think he told her because he had put something on a rag to make me pass out. And she asked him what that smell was, and I think he said perfume or he spilled perfume on me and he had to clean it up or something. I don't know what he said. She believed him over me.
And even though he abused you, did they still get married?
Yes, ma'am.
After they married, did the abuse stop?
No, ma'am.
Was the abuse constant through the marriage, or was it at different times?
It was not constant. I think he felt lucky that I didn't die. And he quit for a while.
So during the time that your stepfather was abusing you, did you tell your mother about it?
Yeah. Yeah, I used to put like a note on my door, whoever's coming to my room at night, and please stop.
Did that person stop?
No. No.
At any point, were you able to report this abuse to anyone? Or let me rephrase that, to anyone who believed you?
Well, when I was 14, they sent me to rehab because I was smoking weed. And came out then.
When you got out of rehab, were there any conditions placed upon your household for your release?
Yeah, my mom had to leave Larry. Oh, I shouldn't say that. My mom had to leave my perpetrator.
And that was your stepfather?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You had mentioned that you had gone to rehab because you were smoking weed. Why were you smoking weed at the time?
I'm not sure. I guess it was helping me.
Helping you what?
I self-medicate. I found a way to escape my own head.
And when you say you found a way to escape your own head, was that because of the abuse?
Yes.
You were sent to rehab when you were 14. How old were you when you first started smoking marijuana?
I guess about 14.
Were you using any other kinds of drugs?
No, not at the time.
You had mentioned that you had gone to rehab. While you were in the rehab, did you have any counseling related to the sexual abuse?
Yes.
Did that help?
I don't remember. Probably not.
And Ms. Horn, I want to fast forward a little bit. You had mentioned that you had dropped out of school. How old, or that you didn't finish school. How old were you when you dropped out?
That was a lot of weed ago. I don't remember. I just don't. I'm sorry. There's a lot of things I don't remember.
That's okay. Were you still a teenager?
Yes.
Without saying what your mother told you, how did she feel about you dropping out of school?
I don't remember her saying anything.
Well, after you dropped out, how did you earn a living?
Well, Jack in the Box at first, and then Wendy's, and then Sinbad's and Illusions.
What is Sinbad's?
It's a club.
Or what kind of club is that?
The male topless bar.
so after you dropped out of school, did you start stripping?
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
It seemed to fit in with my life. You know?
I'm sorry?
It seemed to fit in with my life, you know? That's what I think when you're abused at such a young age, it becomes a self-concept, you know, this is what I'm here for. I wish I hadn't. I really wish I hadn't, but I did.
Now, did your mother ever discourage you from working in a strip club?
No, I don't remember that either. She's not a bad mother. I don't want anything bad about my mom.
So how long did you work in the strip clubs?
About 12 years. Till I turned 30.
So if it was 12 years when you turned 30, you were about 17 or 18 when you started?
Yes, ma'am.
When you first started working in the clubs, was it easy for you to go up on that stage?
Oh, no. No.
Or what did you do to get up the courage to go up there?
Drink heavily.
Or what did you drink?
Jack and Coke mostly.
At any time did you have to use drugs in order to go up on a stage?
Yes.
What kind of drugs did you use during that period?
Meth.
Meth?
Mm-hmm.
About how old, if you remember, were you when you started using meth?
I don't know.
At some point, did you start using even heavier drugs than meth?
Yes.
What drugs did you start using?
When was this? Just later on?
Yes.
I mean, I've done everything. I mean, heroin.
Is that your drug of choice?
Yes.
How long have you been using heroin?
It was about 25 years.
When you first started using heroin, how did you use it? Was it snorted? Was it?
Yeah. Yes. Little pill.
I'm sorry?
A little pill, snorted.
And did you ever start shooting heroin?
Yes.
When you started using heroin, how did that make you feel when you took it?
A lot better. Mhm.
Why do you say that?
Because I have a movie that plays in my head every day. Every day, without fail. And it gets rid of it. Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
You're fine, Miss Warner, you're fine. The movie that you said that is playing in your head, what kind of movie is it? Is it a comedy, a romance, a horror film? What kind of movie is it?
It's my past. It's my abuse. It plays in my head every day.
Does the heroin take that away?
Yes, it does.
Is that why you still use it?
I'm on methadone now.
You're on methadone now?
Yeah.
Ms. Horner, I want to talk to you a little bit about your own personal mental health struggles, okay?
Okay.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness?
Bipolar disorder and schizoaffective.
Have you ever been diagnosed with PTSD?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Have you ever been diagnosed with ADHD?
No.
When did you start having mental health issues?
I wasn't even aware I had them until They told me I did.
Who was they?
The doctors,
Oh, why did you go see doctors?
because I was at my wit's end. I wanted to die
Why did you want to die?
because I can't do nothing right.
Ms. Warner, when you went to see the doctors and they diagnosed you with bipolar and schizoaffective, were you also prescribed any medications?
Of course.
Did they help?
They seem to for a while, but I don't believe in medicine like that.
Did the medications, well, let me ask you it this way. For you, and in your opinion, which helped you more? The medications that the doctors prescribed or the drugs that you were taking?
I'm not sure. I didn't really give the dummy drugs a try, a chance, you know. I really didn't. I didn't give it a chance.
Well, Ms. Horner, you had stated that you felt that you were at your wit's end and that you couldn't do anything right. Did you ever attempt to take your own life?
Yes,
How did you do that?
with heroin.
Did you have, was it an intentional overdose?
Yeah. Yes.
And what happened after you had this overdose?
They, I don't know, I was out, but I woke up in the hospital and left.
Do you recall how old you were at the time?
No, ma'am, I do not. I don't remember. I'm really terrible at dates, ages. Sorry.
Was it before or after Tanner was born?
After.
Let's talk about Tanner for a moment, okay?
Sure.
Tanner's your son, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Who's his father?
Terry Horner.
Was Terry Horner your husband as well?
Yes, he was.
Now, Ms. Horner, how did you two meet?
In the bar I was working at, Sinbad at the time.
Do you recall how old you were?
17,
Do you recall how old he was?
29.
Tell the jury about the night that you and Terry met. What was that like?
The first night we met, he raped me. There.
That night, did he ever hit you?
Yes, he did.
Tell me about that. What happened?
Well, he asked me to go back to his room and do a line, and I said, okay. And I went, and he was trying to feel me up. I said, no. And he knocked me out and made me do what he wanted.
Now, in spite of the beating and the rape, did you still continue to see Terry?
Yes, I did. I married him.
So even though he beat you and raped you the first night that y'all met, you still fell in love with him?
It wasn't love. But yeah, I married you.
Well, why do you say it wasn't love?
I mean, it goes back to what I thought I was about.
Well, how old were you when you married Terry Horner?
19.
You told us that he had abused you before you got married. Did that abuse stop once you became his wife?
It stopped after the first night. I mean, he never hit me again until when I decided to leave him.
When you and Terry were married, did you ever do drugs together?
Oh yeah,
At what time?
meth.
And how often would y'all do drugs?
Not much, not too many times. We got rent to pay.
Did you and Terry ever separate?
Once.
Did you ever divorce?
Once.
Well, are you officially divorced from him?
Yes. No.
Are you still married to Terry Horner?
Yes, I am. He's deceased.
I was just about to ask.
Posthumously married.
What happened to Terry?
He got killed by a lady on a motorcycle.
When did that happen?
2 years ago?
Did that happen while Tanner was still in jail?
Yes.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your life before Terry and before your pregnancy with Tanner. Had you been pregnant before your pregnancy with Tanner?
Mm-mm.
Had you ever been pregnant? Was Tanner your first pregnancy?
No, he wasn't.
How many times before had you been pregnant?
Is there anything I can refuse to answer?
You want to rephrase?
I'll move on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your pregnancy with Tanner.
Okay. Thank you.
When you became pregnant with Tanner, were you still dancing?
Yes, I was.
And when you became pregnant with Tanner, were you still drinking alcohol?
Till I found out I was pregnant.
How far?
But by that time, I was already like 8.5 weeks.
So you didn't find out you were pregnant until about 8.5 weeks in?
Yes, ma'am.
And during that 8.5 weeks, you drank on a regular basis?
Check the video on the letter read.
Yes, I was.
How often would you drink?
I drank pretty heavily. Enough to get cirrhosis.
You currently have cirrhosis?
Yes, I do.
Once you learned that you were pregnant, did you stop drinking?
Yes.
And why did you stop drinking when you found out?
I wanted my baby to be healthy.
Before learning you were pregnant, did you smoke cigarettes?
Yes.
After you discovered you were pregnant with Tanner, did you stop smoking cigarettes?
No.
What about marijuana? Did you continue to smoke marijuana throughout your pregnancy?
You know, I did a little bit because I was throwing up every day, and it helped.
It helped with the morning
It
sickness?
really did. And I hate to say that, but I did.
Before learning that you were pregnant with Tanner, did you continue to use other drugs?
No.
So at the time that you found out you were pregnant, you were just smoking marijuana and drinking?
Oh no, before I found out I was pregnant,
So during that about 8 to 9 week period?
yeah, I was doing everything.
And what do you mean by everything?
I mean, anything I can get my hands on. I mean, I didn't go out looking for it, but it was always coming into the club. And, it's not a good lifestyle. It's not. But I did try to stop whenever I found out I was pregnant.
Once you found out that you were pregnant with Tanner, did you continue to work at the club?
But I mean, just for like a couple more weeks.
And I totally forgot to ask, but is Tanner your firstborn?
Yes,
Do you have any other children?
yes.
When was that child born? Not at birth date, but how long after Tanner was your second child?
10 years.
So they're 10 years apart?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about the birth of Tanner. Were you able to carry him to term?
Past term.
Past term, how late was he?
It's like, he was 3 weeks and we still had to use Pitocin because an induce. He wasn't coming out. He set up shop.
How long were you in labor the night that he was born?
Wow, I think it was a little over 3 weeks. And then, no, it was difficult pregnancy.
When he actually decided to be born, were there any complications during that period?
Well, yeah, he had gotten so big. I mean, I have a long torso, so I think that's why he had a lot of room to grow, but he had gotten so big that he ruptured, not ruptured, but tore a little leak in my sac, so I was leaking water. I went to the hospital and they sent me home. We'll come back in whenever. So then they had to keep him for 2 days because the infection that he said he probably had because of that. He had a hard time coming out, so they put this thing on his head to pull him out. Not forceps. It was like a...
Like a suction cup?
Yeah, kind of. Like that. Mm-hmm.
All right, so after Tanner was born, and he's cleaned up, and he's wrapped up in his blanket,
Mm-hmm.
and put in your arms, what were your first thoughts when you looked down into his face?
He looks like his dad. Yeah.
Were you happy to be a mom?
Yeah. I was happy to have my kids.
And why were you so happy to be a mother?
It just changed everything from, wasn't about just me anymore.
Where were you living at the time that Tanner was born?
White settlement.
Were you living with Terry? Were you living with your mother? Who were you living with?
With Terry. In white settlement.
How long after you came home from the hospital with Terry? Well, let me ask it this way: Did he stay around? Did
Yeah.
Terry stay around?
Yeah, he did.
How long?
Couldn't get him to leave.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't get him to leave and get a job or anything.
At some point, though, you two separated and broke up. How long after Tanner had been born did y'all break up?
2 years. 2 years.
You had mentioned before, and you told the jury that before you had found out that you were pregnant, you were doing drugs, but then had quit the drugs when you found out you were pregnant. After Tanner was born, were you able to stay sober?
I've never been able to stay sober. I mean, it's just the truth.
Oh, how old was Tanner when he started using again?
This is embarrassing. It really is.
I'm sorry.
Probably about 2.
What made you go back to using?
I don't know.
When you went back, were you using the same kind of drugs, the heroin and the meth and the
I
marijuana?
hadn't started heroin.
You hadn't started
Yet,
heroin
no.
yet? Okay. So was it just the meth and the marijuana and the drinking?
Yes. Cocaine.
Did your drug use increase over time?
Yes.
Were you able to keep a job?
No.
And do you think that was because of the drugs?
Yes.
Had you ever lost a job because of your drug use?
No. I could never keep a job. I think my bipolar has a lot to do with it. I don't know why I can't.
With, you had mentioned that you had gone back to using drugs when Tanner was 2 years old. Do you know if he ever saw you using drugs?
Yeah, he did.
Tell me about that.
It was sad. I nodded out one time on the toilet. I was just like, I wasn't using the bathroom or anything. I had done what I was doing. And I just nodded out. And Tanner came in. He was just a little guy. And he thought I was dead. And he went in there and he told Mom, Mama's dead. And
How did it make you feel?
terrible. It's terrible.
Do you think your drug use at that time affected your ability to be a mother to Tanner?
There were several times when I knew I was out of control.
Have you ever been arrested because of your drug use?
Yes.
What were you arrested for?
Drugs, prostitution. There's about no violent crimes. I've never victimized anybody.
You mentioned that you were arrested for prostitution. How many times have you been arrested for that?
I don't remember. Quite a few.
Did you ever go to prison behind any of the drug charges?
Yes, I did.
Before going to prison, were you offered the ability to do any sort of rehab?
Yeah, Judge, I went to Azewell and Judge Carr put me in the Green Light Ministries. I piloted that program, actually.
I'm sorry?
I piloted that program. It was for women with mental health issues that want to get out of that way of life.
So tell me more about that. What was Green Light about? What was it like?
It gave you a foothold and tried to get you started on a clean life. It was really a good program.
Did you complete the program?
No, I fell in love again and I quit.
While you were at the program, was that an inpatient or an outpatient?
It was residential. Mm-hmm.
Were you able to have Tanner there with you?
Yes. Well, he visited there
Where was he living when you were at Green Light Ministries?
in Lake Worth, Lakeside.
And who was he living with?
Mm-hmm.
Were there any other rehab facilities that you went to?
Nexus. First Choice. I went to all of them.
Oh, so let's talk about First Choice. When you were with at First Choice, was that a residential program as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to bring Tanner with you?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, was your other child born?
The first time he wasn't. The second time he was.
I want to show you what has been admitted
white Nexus.
at the Nexus? And who are the people in the photo?
Me standing up, my grandmother, Mary, sitting down on the left, and Tanner is between me and my mother.
And so that's your mother on the right?
Right, Jackie.
Ms. Warner, were you ever able to, in spite of all the times that you went to rehab, were you ever able to stay clean?
Sporadic times, yeah. I always wanted to. I had the want to, but couldn't do it.
What do you think kept you from being successful and staying clean?
I'm hard-headed, and I really am. And I don't take suggestions like I should. I need to go get some help and take a pill that they want me to take, but I have a hard time doing that. Yeah.
When you were at these rehab facilities, you had said that Tanner stayed with your mother.
Some of them. Sometimes he went with me.
How was your mom as a grandmother?
We better ask Tanner that.
Well, from what you could see, was she a good grandma?
Yes.
She loved Tanner?
She spoiled him. I mean, both of them were just spoiled rotten.
And even though you were in these rehab facilities, did you still try to be present as a parent in Tanner's life?
Absolutely.
How did you do that?
I mean, if I wasn't there, I always made sure they had insurance and, had stuff. I always wanted them to be taken care of because, I wasn't taken care of as a child very well. And where I wasn't, I always wanted them to be.
And that was with your mom?
Mm-hmm. She was just really young.
So for the times that you were able to spend with Tanner and your other son, and when you were able to stay clean, did you enjoy being a mom?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your favorite part about being a mother?
Like going to the park with my kids and hacky sack and frisbee.
Melissa, Ms. Horner, I'm sorry. I want to show you what has been offered as Defense Exhibit 57. Who is this?
It's me and Tanner.
Do you know how old he was in this picture?
About one or two.
Let's look at Defense Exhibit number 58. Who is that?
That's Tanner.
Do you know how old he is in this picture?
About 3.
Defense Exhibit number 59. Who is this?
That's Tanner.
And about how old is he in this picture?
Really, about 7.
And what about Defense Exhibit number 60? Is that also Tanner?
Yes.
Know about how old he is there?
13, maybe.
Now we have Defense Exhibit number 61. Can you describe what's going on in this picture?
I'm giving him sugars, and my other son is watching.
You mentioned your other son. Was Tanner excited to be a big brother?
Um, was Tanner? I
Yeah.
don't know. I think he was a little jealous, actually.
As most big brothers and big siblings are.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to be the baby, so.
yeah.
We've talked about your rehab, we've talked about your drug use, we've talked about your mental health. I want to talk to you a little bit about your physical health. You had said that you had had the neck surgery, but other than that, has your drug use caused you to have any other medical problems?
Cirrhosis, for sure. Yeah.
Were you, anything else? Have you recently been in the hospital for anything? Or have you had to go to the hospital for an extended period of time?
Yeah, because of my neck. I was in there for 7 weeks.
Because of the drug use, have you had to go to the hospital over the years to be treated for things?
I don't remember that. No.
Have you ever left the hospital against medical advice?
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
Probably because of pain management.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean you left the hospital because of pain management?
Well, you know how they are with opioids, and they won't. That's what helps my pain, and they have a thing about that now.
When you left the hospital against medical advice, was it to go get opioids?
Yes,
And by opioids, do you mean heroin?
yes.
Do you know about how many times you left the hospital in order to get heroin?
Like once, I think.
And Ms. Horner, I want to switch gears again, and I want to talk a little bit about Tanner as a child, okay? And please, I know that you're in pain. Do you let me know when you need a break, okay?
Okay.
When Tanner was a child, did you ever notice anything about him that made you feel that he was, I don't know, different from other children?
Yes, yes.
What kinds of things did you notice?
He didn't get along he wanted to get along with people, but they just weren't interested in having conversations with him. Having him around, it was sad to watch, very sad. I didn't like him at all.
How old was he when you first started to notice these things?
Probably when he started school.
Did any of this cause you any concern?
Oh, so sad to watch.
What types of things would you see?
I mean, he wouldn't say things like they did. He didn't talk the way they did. And it isn't like I could hear what they're saying, but you can tell by looking at their faces, they're like, he didn't know how to talk to them the way.
Did you see him having this trouble with other
Yes.
people? How did it make you feel when you saw your son having such difficulty interacting with children his own age?
I wanted to go get him help, see what's wrong.
Did you go get him help?
Yes, I did.
Or what did you do?
I took him over here to the Child Study Center, and I think they rigorously tested him for about 6 weeks, I think. And
After they tested him, were they able to come up with a diagnosis?
Asperger's syndrome.
Did he have any other medical diagnoses during his childhood?
Well, they would call it. They kept telling me it was ADHD, but it wasn't. They they're always trying to treat him for something he didn't have. And the medicine would always change him and make him something he wasn't.
With the diagnoses that he received, did you try to get Tanner services?
Yeah.
What kind of services did you try to get?
Well, because he was struggling in school, and I didn't want him to leave like I did. And I would go to art meetings, and we set up a classroom, the classroom to where it was more of a learning experience for him.
Were you able to get him any Social Security benefits?
Yes.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Nicely when I sat down. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Okay,
You a little nervous?
a little bit.
Well,
And all of the members of the jury hear the witness. Okay, all right.
And if you'll just keep your voice up for us, that would be great, okay?
Okay.
Please introduce yourself to the jury. And we're just gonna use first names.
Okay. Jacqueline?
And do you also go by Jackie?
Oh, yes. Jackie,
Is it okay if I call you Jackie?
please.
Okay. Well, Jackie, how are you, or how do you know Tanner Horner?
He is my grandson.
Jackie, are you currently employed?
No.
When you were working, what were you doing?
Well, worked at Albertsons and a barber.
Now, I see that you were in a wheelchair. Are you medically disabled?
Yes, multiple sclerosis.
Do you have a disability status for your multiple sclerosis? Are you receiving Social Security
Oh,
benefits?
yes.
Jackie, I want to talk to you a little bit about your family. Do you have any siblings?
Yes.
How many did you have?
4 brothers and a sister.
Are they all still alive?
Just one.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
Is that Tanner's mom?
Yes.
How many grandchildren do you have?
2.
Jackie, I want to talk a little bit about your family and the way you grew up, okay?
Okay.
When you were growing up, was your father, was he verbally abusive to you or any of your siblings?
Yes.
How so?
He just always was. He's an alcoholic. And,
What would he do?
well, he just complained constantly. If he showed up for dinner, he would complain.
Would he ever yell at you?
Oh, yeah.
Would he ever call you names?
Yeah.
Would he do this in front of your family?
Oh, yeah.
Would he do this in front of other people?
No, sometimes he put on his act when we had family around or friends. He acted like he liked us.
But once those friends left,
Yeah.
did his true colors show?
Yeah.
Was he ever physically abusive to you?
He was, but not as much me as it was my brothers.
Did you see him being abusive to your brothers?
Yes.
What would he do?
Well, he would just start, there's a lot of yelling. I mean, that's been a long time ago, and I just know he'd get that belt and just keep hitting him. Keep hitting him. Because he'd gone to the beach and,
Was he supposed to go to the beach?
no,
Jackie, was there any sexual abuse in your home?
yes,
Were you the victim of abuse as a child?
yes.
And I don't want to go into any details about it, but how old were you when you were being abused?
Very little.
How often would this abuse occur?
Too often?
Is any time too often?
Yes.
How long did this go on?
You know, for years that I could remember because, you know, I never told my mother. And it's just something you didn't talk about. You didn't talk about the alcoholism in my family.
And if you didn't talk about the alcoholism, were you going to talk about sexual abuse?
Oh, no.
Were you the only child in that household that was abused?
No, my sister as well.
Did you or your sister ever tell anybody what was going on?
No. Well, we told my mother once when we were about 12 and 13.
And how did that go?
He was mad. Why didn't you tell me earlier?
Did it stop after that?
Oh, yeah. It had been stopped by then. And
Jackie, did you ever get counseling to help you deal with what happened?
yes, I did.
And when you went to go see the doctor, were you diagnosed with anything? Do you have any mental health diagnosis?
Well, depression, some PTSD, which that's a thing that I didn't realize it was.
And do you still live with all of that?
Yeah, but I understand it more.
Jackie, I want to talk about your brothers and sisters for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Did any of your brothers and sisters suffer from any mental illness?
Yes,
Were there any suicide attempts amongst your siblings?
yes.
How many of your brothers and sisters were successful in killing themselves?
My sister and my youngest brother.
So that's 2 out of how many children?
6.
You mentioned alcoholism with your father. Did any of your siblings have any alcohol or substance abuse problems?
Yes.
What kind
Everybody had that problem.
Everybody has that problem. What kind of, what did you mean by everybody has that problem?
The alcoholism.
And what about the substance abuse?
Yeah, that too.
And Jackie, how far did you go to school?
10th grade.
Or why'd you drop out?
I was pregnant.
And how old were you at the time?
15.
Who were you pregnant with?
Melissa.
At any time did you go back and get your GED?
I did.
And why'd you go get your GED?
Because I dropped out so early, and back then people had said, well, if you don't get your GED, it'd be hard for me to get a job. And I had to have it to get my barber's license.
When did you get your barber's license?
1976.
How long did you work as a barber?
40 years,
Do you like it?
yeah.
Why'd you stop being a barber?
Well, because I need something that had benefits, and Albertsons had that.
And so you went to work for Albertson?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that you dropped out because you had become pregnant. Was this your first pregnancy?
Yes,
Were you surprised when you were pregnant?
yes.
Did you tell your parents?
I told my mom,
Did you tell your parents? You told your mom?
yes.
What was her reaction when you told her?
Oh, Jacqueline,
Was she supportive?
she was.
Did you ever consider terminating your pregnancy?
Yes,
Did you ever try to terminate that pregnancy?
yes.
What happened?
Um, like what?
Well, tell me, how did you go from having the idea to terminate the pregnancy to trying to terminate the pregnancy?
Well, my mother knew a doctor and went to her house, and she said she was doing an abortion on me, which I didn't realize anything except that I knew I wouldn't be pregnant anymore.
Well, whose idea was it to terminate the pregnancy?
Well, it was mine and my mother's.
And your mother is the one that took you to the doctor?
Yes.
So after your mother took you to the doctor to try to terminate the pregnancy, I guess the question I have is, was the abortion successful?
No.
How old, well, were you able to carry that child to term?
Yes.
And how old were you when your daughter was born?
I turned 16 a day after I had her.
Did you have a difficult birth?
No,
Any complications?
no.
Were you worried because of the failed abortion attempt?
Yeah, I was real worried.
But instead you had a healthy baby girl?
Yes.
You have pressure on her?
Yes.
And actually, Jackie, I'm going to hand you what has already been admitted as Defense Exhibits 96 through 109. Okay, so I'm just gonna let you hold on to those because I'm gonna put them up on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Defense Exhibit number 96. Who is that? Is that you and your daughter?
Yep.
Jackie, where was your daughter's father throughout all of this?
Well, we were together, except not living together, but with, he was at his parents' house, and I was with my mom's house.
So, did you two ever get married?
Yes.
And how long were you married?
About 3 years.
How old was your daughter when you divorced?
About 2.5 or 3.
Were you and her father married before or after you gave birth?
Before.
So you found out you were married, we had the attempted termination, and then you got married and then gave birth?
Yes, well,
And was this all before the age of 16?
yes.
Did your daughter's father ever pay child support for her after y'all separated and divorced?
No.
How did you support your daughter?
I worked normally 2 jobs.
And what kind of jobs did you have at that time?
I'd be a waitress, and then I was a shampoo girl for like 4 years before I decided to go to barber college.
Jackie, I want to move on a little bit, and I want to talk about your second husband. Now, did the two of you live together before you married?
Yes.
At the time you moved in together, did you have any concerns about your boyfriend and your daughter?
No, not at the time.
So when y'all moved in together, you thought everything was A-okay?
Yeah, newly in love.
Before he moved in, did your daughter ever tell you that your boyfriend had sexually abused her?
Yes, she did.
And this was before you were married? And even though your daughter had told you about this incident, did you marry him anyway?
Yes, I did.
After he had moved in and y'all had gotten married, do you ever remember an occasion where your daughter had put a sign on her door?
Yes.
Did you remember what that sign said?
Something like, it was a big poster that she had on her bedroom door that said, who's ever coming in at my room at night, please stop.
At the time, did you know what that meant?
No, I mean, I automatically thought, oh, it must be a stepbrother, if he had the bedroom next door to the girls. And,
Do you know what it means now?
oh yeah,
Or what does it mean, or what did that sign mean?
that her stepdad was coming in there at night. She had told the school.
Well, that was my next question. Did she ever tell anybody about that?
Yes. But she, she tried to tell, she told me the first time it ever happened, and I didn't believe her. And how could I not believe a 4-year-old? That's all on me, and I live with that still. 4-year-olds don't lie.
Hi, Jackie. Did CPS or law enforcement ever get involved after
Yes.
she had told what had happened? And what happened after CPS and law enforcement got involved?
First they had opened a case and talked to each one of us, and
Was anyone ever arrested?
no,
Was anyone ever prosecuted?
no.
Did you and your second husband eventually divorced?
Yes.
Jackie, I want to flash forward some more, and I want to jump to a time when Melissa, or your daughter, was married or dating Tanner's father. Did you ever meet Tanner's father?
Yes.
Was he older than Melissa?
Yes.
And how much older was he than your daughter?
Well, I was never real sure of his age, but, you know, I think he was at least 10 years older.
What was their relationship like?
Toxic.
Why do you say the relationship?
Oh, they just
was-
fought all the time.
They fought all the time? Did you ever see them fighting?
No, I mean, no, I can't say that. You got, Melissa would just tell me they had a big fight.
Do you know if he was physically abusive to her?
Yes.
Did you ever see her with bruises?
No, I can't say I saw any bruises, but he was abusive to her.
While Melissa and Terry were married, did she become pregnant with Tanner?
Yes.
Was this her first pregnancy?
Yes.
The one with Tanner was her first pregnancy?
Yes.
Did she seem happy about becoming a mother?
Yes. She was very excited.
What do you mean by very excited?
Oh, she was just happy. She was happy to have a baby.
At the time she became pregnant with Tanner, was she working?
Yes.
And after she gave birth, did she go back to her job?
Yes.
When she had gone back to working, how old was Tanner? If you can remember.
Year old?
A year old?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
When Melissa was working, who kept Tanner?
I did a lot.
Where was his father at this time?
I don't know.
When Tanner was a little boy, how did you feel about taking on so much responsibility with him?
I was okay with it. I loved him. He's my first grandkid, and I figured I could do better with him than I did being a mother for the first time, because I was so young that I had a little experience by the time he came.
I'm going to show you Defense Exhibit number 97. Who is this?
It's Tanner. And the rocking chair my mother made for him.
Your mother made that for him?
Mm-hmm. But she painted it all.
What was painted on that?
Just something boyish. I don't
Something boyish.
remember.
I'm going to show you Defense Exhibit number 98. Who is that?
It's me and Tanner.
About how old was he here?
He looks like he's about 2.
I see that big smile on your face. Were you happy to keep him?
Yeah.
Did he bring you lots of joy?
He did. He did.
And Defense Exhibit number 99. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on in this picture?
Oh, we were just in the front yard, walking around, and he always would pick those up and blow on it. So it, until it was empty.
Jackie, when Melissa had gone back to work, well, let me back up. At the time that, before Melissa became pregnant with Tanner, do you know if she was using drugs?
Before she went back to work?
No, before she was pregnant.
I can't say, nothing that I saw.
Did you ever see her use drugs?
No.
Did you ever see her use drugs after the birth of Tanner?
No.
Have you ever seen your daughter under the influence of drugs?
Yes.
Tell me about that. What was her behavior like when she was using drugs?
Maybe red eyes.
And how did she behave?
Well, she was happy, and then, she was at work, and would come home and see Tanner. I mean, she was just happy as can be.
Then what makes you think that she was under the influence of drugs at the time?
Well, because she came home from work.
Now, Jackie, has your daughter ever overdosed from drugs?
Not that I've seen.
Has she ever required medical attention for her drug use?
Yeah, she's been to rehabs.
So I'm going to show you Defense Exhibit number 100. Do you remember this?
Yep. I was at a rehab.
How often did Melissa have to go to rehabs?
She's been several times. And always wanted to go because she knew she needed it. She just really struggled.
You said that she'd gone several times. When you say several times, is that more than 4 times?
I don't recall, but that sounds good.
And this photo, Defense Exhibit number 100, was that taken in one of the rehab facilities?
I'm sorry, what?
Defense Exhibit number 100, was that taken in one of the rehab
Yes.
facilities?
Yes.
How many times did you have to go visit with her in a rehab facility?
Several times.
And you said she had struggles with the drugs. What kind of struggles did she have?
I don't know, just doing them. It was not a good thing, and she knew it wasn't, but she had a hard time kicking the habit. And
Was she using heroin at the time?
yes,
Do you recall an incident where she had taken heroin and fell asleep on the toilet?
I think I've heard that.
But do you remember when Tanner had to come get you and bring you into the bathroom and show you his mother who had passed out on the toilet?
You know, I don't remember that. I heard about it after, but I don't remember when it happened.
And if you're, is that something that you're, well, hold on, 1 moment. Did your daughter ever have mood swings?
Yes.
Did she ever have, act paranoid?
Yes.
When did you first started noticing, the paranoia and the mood swings?
Probably when she was a lot younger than when she first started using it. She just always, I think it's because she's bipolar, and I think it started happening early in her age.
And so your daughter's bipolar?
Yes.
Do you know if she sought any sort of medical treatment for her mental health?
Yes, she did.
How'd that work for her?
Well, I mean, they gave her information, and she gave her the information, and she would tell me what they, like, what else she was diagnosed with that, and, you know, she needed to go to counseling and probably get on medicine, in which she had tried, and she didn't like the feel of it.
And Jackie, do you love your daughter?
Yes, I do.
Are these questions hard for you to answer?
Yes.
I want to talk to you about your daughter's, well, let me back up. Did she ever divorce Tanner's father?
No, they never got a divorce.
But did they separate at some point?
Yes.
And did she become involved with another man?
Yes.
Did she have a child with that man?
Yes.
All right, so I want to talk to you about your other grandson.
Okay.
How did Tanner react when he found out that he was going to be a big brother?
Oh, he was very excited. Very excited.
What made you think that he was excited?
Well, he was just always, you know, he just couldn't wait till the baby was born, and the day she went into labor, they were at the hospital, and we went and stopped by McDonald's to get something to eat, which he liked going there, and we sat there and ate, and then he threw up. He was so excited. I mean, he just all over the place. He was so excited he threw up. And I just spent money on that meal.
How old was Tanner when he found out he was going to be a big brother?
Well, he was either 9 or 10. He was 10 when he was born, so.
I'm going to show you what is Defense Exhibit number 101. Is that Tanner and his little brother?
Yeah.
What do you think about when you see that photo?
Just shows the innocence, how little they were, and how precious that picture is.
Does it make you happy to see that photo?
It does.
Now, defense exhibit number 102. Is this a picture of your daughter and her 2 sons?
Yes.
Approximately how old is Tanner at the time?
Probably 11.
Is that his little brother in the high chair? Now, I want to fast forward again. I want to talk about you again. And I want to talk about your marriage to Bill. Your husband, is that your 3rd husband?
Yes.
Okay. Your 3rd husband, Bill, was he in the military?
Yes.
Do you remember what branch?
Army.
Do you know if he had ever been deployed?
Yes.
Where was he deployed?
Well, he went several places, but he was in Vietnam.
Do you know what he did for the Army in Vietnam?
Well, several things he did, but the longest thing he did was he was a tunnel rat.
What's a tunnel rat?
Well, they go underneath in a tunnel and scope out the place, you know. I guess set traps.
Were they
He
looking
didn't
for
always
booty-
talk about it, but,
Oh.
yeah, it is something that most people wouldn't want to do. Go into the unknown.
Was he looking for booby traps?
Yeah.
Was that a dangerous assignment?
Yeah. I think so.
When he retired from the military, did he receive any disability benefits from the VA?
Yes.
Would you describe Bill as a paranoid person?
Yes.
What would he do that would make you think he was paranoid?
Well, he was always, you know, always trying to find something wrong.
Or what do you mean trying to find something wrong?
Well, just in daily life, he would just nitpick things, and he was angry.
He was angry? Now, would he ever sneak around the house or sneak up on people?
No. Oh yeah, I'm sure he's done that. People like to sneak up on me because I scare easy.
You had said and described Bill as an angry person. Did he have a bad temper?
Yes.
Well, why do you say he had a bad temper?
Well, he displayed it all the time. He just didn't have much patience, and he would he was always mad about something, and if it didn't go his way, it was nobody's way, and he'd just get mad.
What would he do when he got angry?
Oh, wondered that too. Many times.
And when he got angry, what would he do? I mean, would he yell? Would he throw things? What?
Well, yeah, he would yell. That was always a big one. Or not talk to me for weeks.
When Tanner was young, did he and his mom move around a lot?
Yes. Well, it depends what a lot is.
Well, in your opinion, was it a lot?
Well, no, I'm going to say not so much. They did live in several places, but when Melissa and I had discussed that we were going to, because where she was at that time in her life, she thought would be a good idea that he come stay with us, my husband and I. Where she knows he would be safe and
How old was he when he came to, how old was Tanner when he came to live with you?
I'm gonna say probably about 3 or 4.
Do you think that Melissa letting Tanner come to stay with you was her way of trying to give him a better life?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's what she said, Mom, because I'm not doing the right thing and I know it. She just wanted to, she knew he'd be safe with us.
She's trying to look out for him?
Oh yeah,
Because she knew that,
he was safe and she always worried, she always wanted him to be okay with, he didn't have that many babysitters, you know, we were babysitters. And she just didn't trust very many people.
Jackie, what kind of things did you do for Tanner when he came to live with you?
We go to parks, we went to movies, a lot of Disney movies. We, you know, had to plan those movies, or anything time we went somewhere, we had to plan it because he couldn't handle spur of the moment stuff. So I had to make sure he knew like days in advance that what we're gonna go do. And,
Oh, go ahead.
and then, we go to the zoo.
When you said that he didn't like spur of the moment, what do you mean by that?
It was too quick of a decision. I mean, I'd have to plant the seed and he'd have to think on it, I guess. That's what ended up working better, especially, you know, that all started with doctor's appointments, that he got to where he handled that and he knew that I would remind him every day of something that we had planned.
Did it work better for him to know in advance?
Yes.
Did it work better for you to know
Yeah.
in advance?
Yeah, he would, yeah.
When you and Tanner would go to these Disney movies and plan these outings, do you remember about how old he was when all of that started?
Will you repeat that, please?
When Tanner moved in, about how old was he?
I'm gonna say probably about 6, 7.
Did you enroll him in school?
Yes. I first enrolled him in daycare. So, because I worked.
How old was he when you, if you recall, when you enrolled him in daycare? Was it before he started elementary school?
Yes.
While he was at daycare, did you ever watch him with the other kids?
Yeah.
Did you ever see him, behave in a way that made you think that he was a little different?
That's quite often, but I walked in once pick him up from school. And I got off work and he was playing with some kind of little game they had at the daycare. And this little kid, you know, he was playing by himself, and that's how he liked playing by himself. And this little kid said, "Here, let me help," or something to that extent, wanted to play too. And Tanner said, "No, you can't, and then he just turned away and not respond anymore. He just, no. And whoever that was, that little kid just said that, "You're weird," or there was always a comment about that he was weird, awkward, different.
And these are things that you've heard these kids
Oh,
say?
yeah. Yeah.
That time that you saw of him pushing the other child away or turning his back on the other child, was that the only time you saw that kind of behavior?
Oh, no, I've seen it many times. I've seen it at, in Boy Scouts. And I go to the meetings with him, and they'd have them, and there were several boys that kind of were making fun of him, and I'm not sure, I don't remember what it was all about, but they started just giving him a hard time on, you know, yeah, I don't remember exactly, but they were making fun of him.
No,
And-
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, in Defense Exhibit 106 is, what is that?
He's getting some kind of a award for Cub Scouts.
So was this taken when he was,
Yeah.
and, when you would watch Tanner at daycare, could you notice a difference between his behavior and the other children's behavior?
Yes.
Did you see that same behavior when Tanner was at home?
Yes.
At some point, did you ever take Tanner, or was it suggested that Tanner go be tested?
Yes.
Did Melissa take him to get tested?
Yes, she did. She was all on top of that because we knew there was just someone connecting.
What was Tanner's diagnosis when you went to go get him tested? What was the diagnosis?
Well, he had ADHD and Asperger's syndrome from the Child Study Center.
How did you feel when you found out that he had a diagnosis?
Relieved that we know it was something instead of what could it be.
Was Melissa relieved as well?
Yes.
How did Bill respond to the diagnosis of Asperger's?
He didn't say a whole lot. He just, through the years, we'd say, well, part of his Asperger's, and, you know, people just think that's an excuse for his behavior, and he'd say, you know, there ain't nothing wrong with that boy. Even a lot of times it was very obvious there was something wrong.
Did you or Melissa treat Tanner any differently because of his diagnosis?
maybe a little more protective. 'Cause we just felt sorry for him, because he didn't have any friends, and nobody wanted to have anything to do with him.
When you say that you were protective of him, how were you protective of him?
Him getting bullied. As he didn't always show that it bothered him. And it bothered him,
Were you there to support him?
yes.
Because of his Asperger's diagnosis, were you able to get any Social Security benefits?
Yes.
How old was he, if you recall, when he first started to get benefits?
Gosh, I really don't remember. I want to say maybe 14.
Now, Jackie, I want to talk about Tanner's time in school, okay? I want to show you what has been offered as Defendant's Exhibit 103. Now, do you recall that photo?
Yeah.
And about how old was Tanner there?
He looks about 3 or maybe 4.
What about Defense Exhibit 104? Remember about what grade he was in there?
Could that have been the 4th grade?
Now, Jackie, when Tanner was in school, did he receive any special education classes?
Yes.
Do you know why he was in special education?
For his Asperger's and it's kind of like a guideline on his, he would always speak out, and to get his behavior under control. That would help, but they would just teach him, right, wrong, numbers, because he never did real good in school, and I never understood why he didn't, because he's very smart. But, it was just, they were like a support group, and they always had his back on the difficulty of being in school and all the bullies he would face.
When you say they, are you talking about his teachers and his
Yes.
providers? Did you and Melissa attend any of his, what they call the ARD meetings, of the special
Yeah.
education meetings? What were those like?
They would just give us information on how he's doing, and what they're working on, how he progressed or he didn't in certain areas.
Based on these ARD meetings, did Tanner have any special kind of services?
Well, yeah, they would send trying to think what they call it. A special teacher out and they go out to dinner or go to the store, and how to interacting with people, manners.
Did those meetings with that person seem to help Tanner?
It did. Until, it was time that she just didn't come anymore. And we needed to pick up the slack, and we probably did for a little while.
Were you able to continue that?
Well, we did a little bit, but some of it was stuff that, like his manners, we were always big on manners. So no, we didn't follow through all the way.
How did Tanner react when he stopped having these meetings with his teacher?
Well, I think he kind of missed it because he looked forward to having that time of just something different besides the people at home, he looked forward to it.
Now, Jackie, you talked before about Tanner being bullied in school and having to deal with other bullies. Is Tanner a friendly person?
Oh, yeah.
Is he outgoing?
Yep, sometimes he's not, but most, yeah,
Did he like to talk a lot?
yes,
Does he still like to talk a lot?
yes.
When he was in school, did you ever see him trying to make friends with the other students?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Was he able to?
Well, there might have been a few, but, once they start talking to him, they would kind of, and kind of back off.
I think the words you used before were weirdo and awkward.
Yeah, because, it was awkward. It was awkward. It's awkward for an adult to feel awkward talking to a kid.
How did Tanner take it when these other kids would start calling him names?
He just, oh, it's okay, Mimi. I'm used to it.
He called you Mimi?
Yeah.
And how did you feel when he said those things to you?
I hurt for him. Painful.
Was this the only time that seeing those kids call him names and hearing the names that he was called, was that the only time that you saw Tanner being bullied?
Not,
Do you recall an incident at a wrestling match?
oh yeah.
Tell us about that. What happened?
The wrestling match was over, and Tanner was walking in front of me, going to get a drink, and some guy that had been wrestling too walked up next to him and just kind of, hey, you punk, you weirdo, or what are you doing? You're not going to do, just all kinds of put downs to him. And he didn't know who I was, but I said, why are you talking to him like that? Because he realized there was somebody with him. But that just came out of nowhere. He just ran up there and started bad-mouthing him. And then again, he tries to make me feel okay about what happened.
So even though Tanner is the one that is being bullied, he's trying to comfort you?
Yeah,
Jackie, in spite of all of the issues that Tanner had in high school and in elementary school and in middle school, was he able to graduate from high school?
Yes, he was. And he was so proud. I was so proud for him.
Was he the first person in your family to actually graduate from high school?
Yes, he was. That was a big accomplishment.
I'm gonna show you what is, I believe, Defense Exhibit 107. Is that a copy of his high school announcement?
Yes.
So it was, other than the fact that he was the first person to graduate, was the fact that he graduated a big deal for your family?
Yes.
And why was it a big deal
Well,
for
I
you?
mean, because he graduated. That wasn't a real popular thing in my family or his dad's side of the family. I don't think anybody else had graduated. And he just wanted to, you know, make his parents proud.
Was that important to him?
Well, yeah. Because he wanted to be the only one to do that.
Do you have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
May we first?
Huh?
I see that big smile on your face, Jackie. Why are you smiling?
Well, that's his diploma that they handed him, walking across that stage.
Now, Jackie, I want to talk about, Tanner's musical abilities. Tell us about that. Was Tanner a musical guy?
Yes, drummer.
Where did he get his first set of drums?
I mean, his papa bought it for his 16th birthday.
When you say Pawpaw, who are you talking about?
Oh, Bill.
His grandfather?
Yes.
Well, why'd y'all give him the drums?
Because he always went around all the time. And he thought he could put that to use. And he did.
Was he a good drummer?
Yeah, he was.
Did he take lessons?
No.
Did he play any other kinds of instruments?
He played the bass.
mentioned that you and Bill got him the drum set. I want to talk a little bit about Bill and Tanner's relationship. Was your husband the authority figure in the house?
Yes.
How did he show his authority?
Um, by being demanding, overbearing a lot of times, and he wants to like get a point across that wasn't, see. He's got angry a lot. And sometimes that's how he just kind of bully his way into, this is what you do. For instance, go out and mow the yard, Tanner. And he'd never showed him how to mow the yard. And he'd get out there and just do it either way. And then, you know, why didn't you use your head? You know, do I have to show you everything? It's just little things that he thought would have been easy for him. And then when things weren't going exactly how he thought it should be, you know, it was always a problem.
Were there some things that it took Tanner a little while longer to catch on to?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of things?
Pardon me?
What kind of things?
I'm not sure, I cannot remember everything, and right now I can't, except the one thing I remember is, Bill had gotten really mad at Tanner. And he went back there to his room and just, you know, started complaining to him. And he came back up and he said, you know, I've had it with him. I'm going to get that stick that I told you about, and I'm going to take him down. And he actually said, I didn't actually believe him at first.
Okay, now Jackie, I'm gonna stop you right there for a minute because we had a lot of he's and hims. And I wanna make sure that the jury understands who we're talking about, okay?
Yeah.
You said that he went back to his room. Who went back to whose room?
Bill went back to Tanner's room.
Had they had an argument before?
Yes, but I had not heard about it. Or if I did, it'd been days or weeks.
And you mentioned something about a stick. Tell us about the stick.
It was kind of like a dowel rod, kind of like, but it was about this big, long, about this big around.
Is that the stick that you're referring to on Defense Exhibit number 109?
Yes.
What did Bill do with that stick?
He told Tanner, stand still. Just stand still. And Tanner's just standing there, yeah. After I'd already told him, I said, Tanner, you need to leave because he's mad. He said, I said, you need to leave because he's mad. And he said, Papa wouldn't hurt me. Well, so he just stood there and he acted like he's playing baseball and got that big stick and just swung it at him and hit him across his chest and stomach area. I mean, and it just happened so quick, and he just fell down like, you know, he's a big guy. I'm surprised that he went down like that.
So, Bill hit, I mean, he said that he took it like a baseball
Oh,
bat. And he swung and hit Tanner with that stick that's in Defense Exhibit 109.
Yeah.
When you say that Tanner went down, what do you mean he went down?
I mean, he just went down like a rag doll.
Were you afraid?
Oh, yeah. That
Oh, go ahead.
was terrible. I mean, it was like a movie. It was terrible.
Was that something that you would have ever expected from him?
No. No. And neither would he. It shocked Tanner. He couldn't believe it.
What did Tanner do after Bill had hit him with that stick?
You know, he was crying. Went back to his room. And came back about 15 or 20 minutes later, bleeding everywhere. He cut his arm, and it was just, blood was just pouring out. And Bill saw it. He said, well, I guess you ought to take him to the hospital. And I did.
Did Bill seem concerned at all?
No.
What happened when you took him to the hospital?
Well, he went in and they looked at it and got, I don't remember how many stitches, but at least 10. And
Jackie, in spite of the bullying by Bill, and in spite of being hit by that stick, did Tanner still love his pawpaw?
yeah, he did, but I think that may have, I think that made him think twice about him, you know.
And when Bill passed away, how did that affect Tanner?
He was very sad.
Jackie, I want to talk to you about your grandchild.
Okay. My great-grand?
I'm sorry, your great-grand, that's right. How old, are you, do you know the mother of
Yes.
your great-grandchild? And again, we're not going to go into names.
Okay.
And we aren't going to talk about the name of your great-grandchild either. But were Tanner and the mother together when the child was born? Were they still dating?
Yes.
How did Tanner react when he found out that he was going to be a father?
Oh, he was real excited.
Did he seem to enjoy being a dad?
Yes.
What kinds of things would Tanner do with his son?
I mean, just play with him and hold him and feed him, change the diaper. You know, I wasn't around a whole lot right then. but he took good care of him.
Did he like to show his son off to other people?
Oh, yeah. Bring a grin to his face.
May I approach your room?
Yes, ma'am.
Jackie, I'm going to show you what has been already admitted into evidence as defense exhibits number 106 to 108. Would you take a look at those? And I see you smiling again. Why are you smiling?
Pictures.
That's it. What is it? Oh, those are the only three.
Oh, I'm gonna make one out of it.
Oh. What is it about these pictures that is making you smile?
Well, because Tanner was so happy and that little baby. So cute.
What does it make you feel like when you see these pictures?
Well, of course it makes me feel proud. I mean, it's sad that, you know, he'll never be a daddy that he wanted to be. But he got a little guy to be proud of.
Yeah, may I publish to the jury?
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jackie, you know why we're here, don't you?
Yes, I do.
You know that your grandson has pled guilty to kidnapping and killing Athena Strand.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about the time leading up to that horrible day, okay? In the weeks leading up to this incident, based on your observations of Tanner, did he appear to under a lot of stress at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you say that?
Well, they've been staying with, the other grandmother, and, they came over after they had some kind of a disagreement, and he was just, he had just gotten another job, and he was nervous about that, nervous about being inside, being at the house, and Cassie being, she just always wanted to do something. He'd be at work all day, and then she would be there all day, and then she'd want to, go out and do things and eat and, spend money or whatever. And it was getting to him because he wasn't getting good sleep because he'd end up staying up too late, and he was just stressed out. And I just want to add one thing is, he had told me that, I don't remember what day it was, but he said, I made an appointment with the doctor to get back on that medicine. I was so proud that he said that. And I thought, wow, he's really maturing. Because he figured that out by himself. So that, just all, and you could just tell he was stressed because he was so snappy and kind of shaky.
We've been talking a lot about the hard time that Tanner's had in his life. And what I want to do is I want to talk about some of the good things. Now, the defense's exhibits with pictures of Tanner and his son. Would you consider that some of the good things in his life?
Yes.
Do you think that you and Tanner have a close relationship?
Yes.
Before this all happened, would y'all do a lot of things together?
Well, probably not as much since he, had a baby and all that and involved. But he had not been living at the house for a while. And, we've always had that closeness.
Did you and Tanner, while he was growing up, did y'all attend church together?
Yes.
How long did y'all attend church together?
How long? I started going in 2002. My mother had just passed away, and he had said, Mimi, I want to start going to church. And I had been wanting to get back to church. And we visited a few churches, and then we ended up finding Outreach of Love or Legacy Church. And we went there and we loved it, and we stayed for 20 years.
At some point, did Tanner step away from the church?
Yes. After he started with the drums and then talking about getting a band, working and having a car, just
Since his arrest, has he gone back to the Bible and gone back to church?
yes. Yeah, I bought him a Bible that I looked online. Yeah. The Old Testament and the new one. all in one book.
May I approach your honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Jackie, I'm going to show you what has been admitted into evidence, defense exhibits 110, 111, 112, and 113. Is that the Bible you bought, Tanner?
Yep. That's a thick one.
Oh, that's the wrong thing.
Taking notes.
How does it make you feel to see that he's been taking notes in his Bible?
I think it's good. It's very good.
That published, Your Honor?
Yes.
Jackie, I'm almost done. What I wanted to ask you is, what is your happiest memory of your grandson?
Well, there's probably several. This was in the 4th grade. And they had a talent show. And he sang who let the dogs out. He did this whole thing, did the whole dance and everything. And kind of surprised me that he did that all on his own, but he did.
And defense exhibit number 113 is that a picture of that talent show?
Yeah.
Jackie, how has all of this affected and impacted you and your family?
Mm. Horrific. I mean, we're just devastated. And I'm so sorry for Athena's parents. More than you'll ever know. We think about you every day, and I pray for you every day. I feel like there's nothing I can say to make anything better, and I'm sure there's not. I just want you to know that I have not forgotten you or your daughter. Every day we think about her. And you guys.
One moment, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
My brother's son.
Your brother's son. And do you have any other siblings?
Yes, I do. I did have two sisters along with the brother.
Okay. And who raised you and your siblings?
I'm sorry.
Who raised you and your siblings?
My mother and my stepdad, but the three other siblings were mainly raised with their paternal grandmother for a while until I was born, and we went with my stepdad.
Okay. And why were they with your maternal?
With the paternal?
Grandmother.
My mother was an alcoholic, and she just didn't want them, the only thing I can think of.
And when did your siblings end up leaving home?
My oldest sister left at 16, my brother left at 13, and my other sister left at 15.
So tell me about your brother, Terry Horner Sr.
Tell you about Terry.
Tell me about Terry, yeah.
Terry left home at 13, and he started doing drugs at that time. He has spent about 90% of his adult life in prison. He molested me when I was younger. He threatened to kill me 3 different times, and he was not a very nice person. He beat my mother and stole money from her as well.
Did he ever steal from other family members?
Yes, from what I understand, he's stolen from both of my sisters. My ex-father-in-law was nice enough to give Terry a job, and he repaid him by coming back into the building that night and stealing all of the money and weapons that was in the building.
As an adult, did Terry ever live on your mother's property?
Yes, he did. We thought he had finally straightened his life out, and Mom gave him the Airstream that was on the property so that she could maintain her independence and he could maintain his.
And when you saw it, what were his living conditions like?
It was horrible. He had, a lot of drug users, especially Terry. Whenever they would get high, they would take stuff apart like coffee makers and microwaves and whatever else they could and couldn't put it back together. When Mom passed, I hired someone to clean up the backyard because he had left it. Stuff was everywhere. And they found buckets, 5-gallon buckets of poop because Terry wouldn't come in the house to use the bathroom.
Now, I know what an Airstream is, but can you tell?
Oh, I'm sorry. Airstream RV is a bumper pull trailer.
And did Terry ever, as an adult, live on your sister's property?
Yes, he lived on my oldest sister's property, and he lived in the garage, and then eventually he got a small bumper pull, and it was a gorgeous house, but in the backyard there was so much stuff: air conditioner parts, cars, boats. You name it, it was back there. He would just bring stuff home.
Now, what did your brother do for a living?
Steel. He could weld, but, sorry, I'm bluntly honest here. He could weld, a darn good welder, but because he was into drugs, he couldn't keep a job, so he would just steal whatever.
Now, do you have other family members that have substance abuse issues?
Yes, I do. My oldest sister was prescription drugs. My mother was a prescription drug. Tanner, from what I understand, was or is. We've got other nephews from my oldest sister. Two of the nephews and one of the nieces were substance abuse users.
Can you tell me about your mother?
Mom got married, I believe, at 16 the first time. She had 3 children by her first husband. And she got a divorce, and the 3 children, she dropped them off at Edna Gladney Adoption. Didn't tell anybody she did that. And she married my dad. They were together 18 months. I think I was an oops. And when she was a barmaid most of her life, and she worked dry cleaning. And she was, like I said, an alcoholic. I was born early. Looking back, I'm pretty sure a lot of my problems are due to her being an alcoholic. Whenever she married her 3rd husband, the 3 children that she dropped off at Edna Gladney, their paternal grandmother found out about them, went and picked them up, and she raised them for a while in Pentecostal church. Their beds were church pews, from what I understand. And she got them all back. And
Was your mother ever abusive towards the children, you and your siblings?
she was emotionally and verbally abusive to all 4 of us. If the 4 of us was getting along as adults, she had to pit one against the other. And there would be so much drama. I eventually, whenever my mother passed, I cut ties with all of them. I don't do drugs. I have an occasional drink. I can't stand drama. It will, yeah. That's me.
Did your mother suffer from mental illness?
Yes, she did. She was bipolar. She had severe anxiety. She had depression. and doing the alcohol and mixing all of her prescription with all of that was not really a good thing.
What about other members of the Horner family? Are you aware of any mental illness?
I'm not entirely sure. My oldest sister, I do believe she had some because of the way that she would do the prescription drugs. She wouldn't take her heart medicine or her diabetes medicine. Well, she liked that Xanax. She would melt it in a spoon of water and take it that way.
What about when Terry and Melissa Horner were together? Were you around then?
I was around. I didn't see them much. I think I saw them together maybe 5 times. I saw Tanner probably 3 times in his life, if not 4.
And what was Terry like around that time?
Stoned all the time. Him and Melissa both were always stoned. So the house was horrible. There was trash everywhere. It seemed like wherever Terry went, he had to bring a bunch of junk. There was a bunch of trash. I don't know how people live in that.
And do you know how they met?
Terry met Melissa in a strip joint, from what I understand.
And do you know where they were working at that time? Was Terry working there?
I honestly don't know.
Okay. And you said you were around Tanner Horner 3 or 4 times. Was some of that when he was young?
Yes.
And who raised Tanner?
His maternal grandmother did.
Did you ever babysit Tanner?
I did twice.
Okay, and do you remember about what age that was?
He was a baby the first time, and he was about 5, maybe 6 the second time.
Can you describe what he was like at those ages?
He cried a lot. It was like nothing you could do could stop. You could change his diaper, you could hold him, you could put him to sleep. At 5, it was like he wore his heart on his sleeve, and saying that, you could go, don't do that, and he would just cry. And he went to run out to the street, and I grabbed him and I swatted him on his butt like that, and you would have thought I'd beat the tar out of him. He was crying and hiccuping, and we were at my ex-mother-in-law, and he looked at her and he said, she made me cry. And he just kept crying. I didn't know what to do with him because my children weren't like that. And I felt bad because I couldn't get him to stop crying.
Did you get was he? So you're saying he cried a lot. You're saying that compared to other children.
Yeah.
What about talking? Did he talk a lot?
No.
Have you seen him as an adult?
I seen him one time. My brother said, "Hey, Kim, this is Tanner," and I was like, I wouldn't recognize him if I saw him on the street. That's how often we saw each other. But I mean, that was the whole conversation.
Did he stop by your house or your mother's house one time with you or something?
Yes, he had a camper at my mother's house, and I thought it was another item that my brother drug up. And Mom wanted all of the stuff cleaned out of the backyard. She wanted that camper gone. My brother said that it was only gonna be there for a week, and it'd been there for like, I don't know how long, 4 or 5 months, I don't know. I didn't know it was Tanner's, so I was acting on my mom's behalf, and I started looking for people on the phone to come and pull this camper out, and I had it hauled off. I told the guy, I don't want any money, Mom wants it gone, just make it go.
And was Tanner a kind of a typical Horner man or kind of different?
Like I said, I couldn't tell you. I wasn't around him that much.
Now, I'm going to show you a couple pictures here, and I don't need you to use the names, but if you can just tell me who these are, like in relation to you.
This picture of my brother and my 2 sisters and myself.
Can you identify by the exhibit number?
Yes, sir. That's Defense Exhibit 66. We move to have it admitted and published to the jury.
Have you shown it to the state?
Yes.
So you offer state, Defense 66?
Exhibit 66, Your Honor.
Okay, any objection?
Judge, if he wants to admit 67 as well, no objection to that either.
Yes, please. Let me
You move to admit
identify.
67?
I will, sir, as soon as she identifies that. Do you recognize the people in that?
Yeah, it's Tanner and my brother with a woman who has another child by him, and the 4 of us.
Defense 66 and 67 are admitted.
Your Honor, I will move to publish these, and then I will pass those.
Okay. Cross-examination? Yes, come on, yes, please. Just make sure you stand so that the jury can see her.
Ma'am, my name is James Stanton. I don't think you and I have met before, have we?
No, sir.
Can you hear me? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have are you able to hear low tones but not high tones? Is that you?
It's all over the place. As long as I see your lips, I'm good.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make sure that we can talk, okay?
Perfect.
I don't have too many questions for you, ma'am.
Okay,
If you don't understand something or you don't hear something, you let me know.
absolutely.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm looking at this and you're talking a lot about Terry, your brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I
And you
don't
said-
tell many people he is.
Okay, I can see why. The second part of this, you said he went to a prison for a long time,
In and out.
in and out, and that was for drugs, right?
It was for a number of things. It was for theft, drugs. I believe his first wife, he was out on parole probation, I get that mixed up, and he beat her up and he went back to prison.
Okay. I didn't hear you say he had any sexual type offenses in there. Is it just drugs?
He molested me,
Right,
yes.
but other than what he.
But he did not go to jail for that, no.
He didn't go to jail for that?
No.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a clearer picture.
Understandable.
And the second thing is, you said that the extent of your knowledge on the defendant, Tanner Horner, came from the 3 times you saw him in his life, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And once when he was a baby,
Yes, sir.
once when he was 5,
Yes, sir.
and then a tiny brief conversation when he
He
was
was
how old?
grown. I don't know how old he was, I'll be honest. He was grown.
And that's the extent of your knowledge
Yes, sir.
on the defendant.
Yes, sir.
Now, ma'am, or let me just ask you while we're up here, I'm not trying to be rude, are you a felon?
Am I what?
Are you a felon in
No, sir, I'm
prison?
not.
And I think you said you don't do drugs.
No, sir, I do not.
You don't, okay. Now, I noticed the defense asked you a lot about your family history.
Yes, sir.
And in your family history, it sounds like you had a pretty rough upbringing, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And I'm not gonna ask you any details of that whatsoever, okay?
I'm an open book.
Well, we appreciate that, but I'm still not gonna ask you.
Okay.
But it sounds like you had a pretty rough upbringing,
Yes, sir.
and including some form of inappropriate activity at the hands of your brother,
Yes, sir.
and being around your brother doing drugs,
Yes, sir.
right? And apparently being around your mom when he's doing all this stuff as well,
Yes, sir.
right? But in your life, you don't do drugs,
No, sir.
and you never killed anybody, have you?
No, sir.
And you've never sexually assaulted or molested anybody, have you?
No, sir.
That's what.
Redirect.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
May this witness be excused subject to any potential recall?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.